Hello, welcome to the weekly transits. I apologize for missing last week, but circumstances of life sometimes does that. But anyway, the focus of this week, and I have it set for this coming Sunday because the focus of this week is really, really cool. I just want to talk a little bit about cycles, and you know that there's the regular sun cycle. Once every year the sun goes completely around. That's what everything is based on, and that is a certain amount of time, 365 and a quarter days. And every month, the moon moves through all the signs, and it's like 28 days, 28 and a quarter, whatever it is. Um, Mercury has its cycle. It's like 3 months, more or less, just giving you some rough estimates that it takes to cycle the sun. Venus is like 1.6 years. Mars is every 2 years. Is that how it is on Venus? Anyway, there's also cycles within planets, synodic cycles, where we're going to say that when they meet up is when they start. So when they're conjunct. And this week we have well, let me go back. We have a continuing aspect of the synodic cycle of Venus and Jupiter. We have this week their first separating trine. And in December, we'll have their closing trine. And then I think it's May, they'll be conjunct again, but we'll get there. But when they were conjunct this year, they were conjunct on May 23rd, and they were at 29 degrees Taurus. They were together in Taurus. And what's interesting, that they started out their year together, right? But we're going to say that's the beginning of that cycle when two planets are conjunct. It's like a new moon. It's like the sun and the moon are together, and that's when you make new thoughts, new plans, or at least you should, to be in that cycle, because it's the beginning, the growing of the light. Just follows the order of everything in the universe. So that beginning stage is when two planets conjunct, and then they do however long it takes for them to get back to their conjunction. That would be the next time. And next year it'll be in gosh, can't think of the sign, Gemini, because they're late, I believe. I'll have to go look. But anyway, I have this lined up. I want you to see this. So I digress a little bit. In May of this year, the 23rd, just think about what you were doing then, this last May, the middle of the third week of May. That's when they conjuncted, okay? And let's just go back in time. Let me give you the last time that they were conjunct in Taurus. That's what I'm going to give you, those times, because this is how we mark things astrologically. We look at time. So we're going to see when the last time they were together in Taurus. So this time, though, I mean, the degrees will change. This time, this last year, the 23rd of May, 2024, they were at 29 degrees of Taurus. In 2012, it was in March. It was March 14th, and it was 9 degrees Taurus. So what were you doing March 2012? You might want to jot that date down, mid-March, and just kind of think about what was going on in your life then, what was going on in the world then. And then another one, I'm going to give you a couple back so you can think about it. The year 2000 in May 17th, it was at 20 degrees Taurus. And then 1976, another one in May on the 11th of May, and it was at 10 degrees Taurus. All right, so just to repeat them all, this May 23rd, 29 Taurus. 2012, March, this one was different, March 14th at 9 degrees Taurus. 2000, May 17th at 20 degrees Taurus. And 1976, May 11th, 10 degrees Taurus. Okay, so these are cyclic times and patterns. So this was interesting now. And the reason I bring it up, a couple of reasons, because it's an event, and it's, now we have the trine. Oh, let me back up. You should know, and I'm just gonna just give you, I'm gonna just illustrate over here if you're looking at the screen. If not, I'll try to talk through it anyway. Let's just say right here at this spot, which is usually our rising sign area, or 9 o'clock. Let's just say this is where we're just gonna say these two planets are conjunct. Boom, boom. It's going to say, just imagine I put them right here. Now, as the faster planet moves out, it's going to, its first aspect, it's separating, right? Because when here they were together, and then it started separating. So it's going to have a separating semi-sextile when it's at the 30 degrees. And then it's going to have the sextile at the 60 degrees. And then it'll have its first square. It's like, oh, our first argument. The first square, the separating square. This is where there's tension. And now we're getting to the first trine. And then the next aspect they'll make is the inconjunct, or the quincunx, and then they'll make their opposition, and then they'll come back. The separate, or the approaching inconjunct, the trine, the approaching, because it's getting back to one this way. It's approaching after the halfway point opposition. It's all approaching the conjunction, where here it's separating. Anyway, we have the square, the sextile, the semi-sextile, back to the conjunct, and they will move. Sometimes it may not be, say, at this exact spot. It might be fore or aft. Okay, so we are at this week, and we're coming into it. I mean, it's really close. And then when the moon will also click in, and we'll have a grand trine between the three, and I'll show it to you. So we have the nice aspect, and reason I'm kind of going on this, because there's always so many tense things in astrology we talk about, because that's just, I mean, things go along until they can't, or they don't, right? Until it gets upset somehow. But there's a really, really nice opportunity. We have the benefics in a trine. That's what we have here. So as we get closer and closer here to Sunday, and I have it set for, let's see, 1:22 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. You can adjust it fore or aft depending on where you're at in the world. We have it at 20 degrees. So here's Venus, 20 degrees Libra. And now, oh yeah, this is the other thing I wanted to mention about that. When they were conjunct, Venus was in her feminine rulership of her home sign in Taurus, right? And now at their first trine, she's in her, she's in Libra. It's in her masculine rulership sign. So this is very interesting, because Venus is the benefic, and Jupiter's a benefic, and it's a big benefic. And now when they're together, it's like, that's when, we have good things happening. We have, love and prosperity theme happening. And everything to do with Venus, and then where it's at. So being in Libra, it's, it's in its home place. But, however, Jupiter is in its fall. It's not, or I mean, its detriment. Its home place is in Sagittarius. So it's not the most happy in its opposite sign there, of busy, detail-oriented Gemini. But what else is kind of going on that's checking this, or making it helpful, is, where is it? Oh, why isn't this going to move? Bear with me. Okay, it's just on my side. Up at the top of the chart, we have Mercury, just about, let's say, just 10 degrees into Virgo here. So Mercury in Virgo rules Gemini. So even though that, we have a Virgo, even though we have a mutable square between them, it's like Jupiter is taking the messages from Gemini, because Gemini rules, I'm sorry, from Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini. So it's like, it's like somebody's taking care of your stuff while you're away, somebody that knows you or whatever. So you can just say, oh, can you water that, water my spider plant, and can you put a hose on in the back garden, or doing whatever like that. So it's kind of keeping that weird, expansive Jupiter going off the rails aspect in check. it's kind of keeping it, because it expands, and then it would be expanding Gemini. So this would be like forgetting mid-sentence, which you're talking about, or having too many things, and you don't keep track of it. But with Mercury here in a diligent, methodical, note-taking sign of Virgo, it's going to help put structure and order into this. So it will kind of make it even nicer. It'll just give it some balance there. Now, when the moon clicks in, and I have it here at this exact time, when the moon clicks in, it's either the trine between those two will be happening for hours or day before. And then this Venus is kind of moving fast, so she'll click out of it quicker. But here I set this for when the moon is actually, making it perfect aspect. But you know how it is in space, kind of, it's like we get it in waves and it's not all at once, and you have things before and after. But I like math and I like numbers and I like to see stuff when they all line up. So right here, we can see the moon is in Aquarius. So moon in Aquarius, it has this, it's not an emotional one. It's not at all. It's a much more practical and idea driven, and excitement of ideas and flow of communication and ideas and air and thought and anything on the airwaves, because and any new information, and then also all the Venusian overtones of being in Libra, of others and considering others and relationships. So this is a very nice aspect. And again, when the moon clicks into it, as the moon is all day, all week, actually, we're going to do it. But then when the moon moves into Aquarius and it starts getting closer, it's just going to be a magical time. So kind of carve out or pay attention to this, the weekend. It's kind of nice anyway, the weekend, but Saturday, and then into Sunday. So let me go get back to, so I've got it to minutes here, but let me go back to days here and we'll start. But I had to start with that because I wanted it lined up perfectly for you, because it's such a beautiful aspect. And that's kind of like the highlight near the end of the week. It's the highlight. But we definitely have a couple fun and interesting things happening this week. We have starting out the moon in Sagittarius, which I love the moon in Sagittarius. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just a much more jovial, bouncy, fun, open-ended, exploratory, let's go. Yeah, let's go see what's over there. Yes, it is greener. The grass is freaking greener over here. I told you, I knew it. It's that kind of energy. Love it. So we start that kind of happy, elated, exuberant, fun energy. And then we get serious. Then it goes into Capricorn. We can't have too much fun, but it's serious. It's like, I think on the world stage, it's going to add some seriousness to some, world events that are happening. We have, this major election year and all the shenanigans and how it's being rolled out is, the whole show is definitely interesting. And it's just like a wild card, it's such a wild card. So it's just an interesting that we'll be moving into the Capricorn moon then we go into the Aquarius, and then into the Pisces at the end of the week. So that's our moon theme. And I think that's just important to acknowledge. But starting out today, biggest thing is the moon moving into that energy, into Sag. But then today, which I think is very interesting, is the night of this Donald Trump, Kamala Harris debate. Right when it starts, it's supposed to start, I think, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, but the moon in Sag is going to square Saturn. So what is that? And then and then right after that, it's going to square, it squares the sun. And then tomorrow it's going to be squaring the sun, coming into that. So moon square sun, moon square Sag. Sag, listen to me. The moon in Sag square Saturn in Pisces. So I think it's kind of like, to me, it's a bit like of a wet blanket. Somebody that might be hyped up or super hyped, or somebody's going to get a wet blanket, or there's going to be a wet blanket on something. Saturn in Pisces, is the definite wet blanket. But we'll see how that moon is. And we know that there's, I don't want to get into the whole political side of that, but it's just an interesting because of I think Trump has a Sag moon there. But anyway, just be interesting, like right at the start of something like that, we've got that dourness. Just an interesting note in astrology. Okay, so that's today. And then as we move into Wednesday, we have Venus now in an inconjunct or a quincunx over to Saturn. So I think that kind of drills in this thing, what I just said with the moon squaring Saturn, and then Venus is going to be the quincunx to Saturn. So I think there's another, it's like a turd in the punch bowl kind of an energy. Something is not going to work for somebody. Let's just put it out like that. What else was going to say? Oh, and then the moon, what do we got here? Let's hit 10. What do I got in the afternoon? 1:20. I'll just leave it there. Then the moon will move into see here, it's like late. Let me go by hours. Then the moon will go into Capricorn. See, look here, right about, let's see. Right at Eastern time. See, look at 11:30 tonight. It's gonna move into a seriousness, more serious tone, and that's just opposite. It's gonna move into its detriment. So I think that's a little foreshadowing of how this event might turn out. So look at there, and then all day into tomorrow. I mean, yeah, Thursday. Okay, let me just get it on a few hours there. And then go back over to days. Okay, I like for the sun to be up near the top. You can see it better. Okay, so coming into then Thursday, so we already went through that yesterday. Okay, so Thursday, we've got the sun squaring Jupiter. So that's another putting on the brakes, I think, so sun and then Jupiter's, big. So there's going to be some other block somehow. So if you're trying to get something through or trying to convince or do somebody, I would hold off to near the end of the week, because we've got a couple of blocks here, with the moon square starting today, moon square Saturn, moon square sun, and then Venus in conjunct or quincunx over to Saturn. We got this theme here. And then moon into Capricorn. Can you hear the problem? And then we got Thursday sun square Jupiter. This is not a good time to do that. This is like more solitary, working alone, being diligent, making lists, just waiting for kind of some of this to go. And then also Thursday, the moon is squaring, is opposing Mars. So here it just backed up about right here. See, so we got moon, in Capricorn, and then Mars in Cancer, but it can be very defensive. It could be very like, I'm defending my own, I'm defending my home, my, very, very Cancerian, or my space, or my country, or my, that could be like, so you can see the levels of this and how this could actually roll over the next few days on the mundane or the large level, with this, starting with this thing tonight. Okay, with this debate tonight. And then we roll into, okay, here we go. Okay, then we roll into Friday the 13th. Okay, if this is not enough, right? So, this is how we see things in astrology. It's like you see so many the same kind of themes lining up. It's not things out of the blue. So we've got this kind of quirky week. We've got a lot of that dourness, but then we come into all of a sudden the parting of things, parting of clouds. So I think it's just taking your time, not rushing into something, finding your path. If you get, it's like a maze. If you get something closed in front of you, just, reflect and use your intuition, your intuitive skills to, move more from your heart than your mind. Because also, we get near the end of the week. Well, I'll get there. It's like a big thing with, with the moon, and Mars, we've got this mind and feeling. Where's my other notes here? Yeah, we got the feeling and the mind are kind of at odds there. There we go. Yeah, we've got like this push-pull. And then as we get toward Monday the 16th, I'll show it to you. Well, we'll get there. But on Monday the 16th, we have the moon and Mercury will be opposing. So we have here the moon and Mars, and then we'll have the moon, I just lost my place there. Sorry. Moon and Mercury, moon and Mars, and a moon and Mercury. So think, that we've got a defensiveness. So we've got a think feel thing going on, more of the same theme. It's not a lot. It's not a real complicated week. It's just a couple of themes. We've got this one real nice parting of the clouds in this benefic Jupiter Venus trine in a really lovely place, and then actually we're going to have another one, but it won't be as powerful in like I think around the 20th or so of December, but there'll be air signs there too. What else here? Okay, so here's Friday 13th. Okay, we said that. Now Saturday, we've got the exact trine. You can see, where is it? There, 20 degrees, Jupiter, and then see 19, it's early in the day. I got it in the morning. You see Venus at 19 on Saturday, but so as it moves through the day, what did I show you? It was like 122 or something. It moves right into that nice trine. So that is the culmination. Now Sunday, we get the moon making that aspect, which I told you about. So it's basically the whole weekend. And now Monday, the moon moves into, after all that, when the moon moves into Pisces. So it kind of leaves us in maybe an expanded, numb mind kind of feeling, I think. And this is where we get our push-pull, because now we have Mercury right up over here, opposite there, the moon. See, there already is pretty close there. So you can see it's over here. My stuff's in my way. There we go. What'd I do? Sorry. Okay. Just move that on. I actually stop the screen share. Okay, so here we go. You can see the opposition here. So we have that little bit of a mind think feel, this push pull, this little bit of a mind numbing aspect has been all weekend. And then this is going to keep the think feel thing going, we've got Mercury in, and it loves to be here. And now we're gaining new ground, we're getting out of the shadow, moving past, what was it, 4 degrees, I think. My mind is numb from from a long week, but anyway, it's starting to gain speed and gain new territory. We've been waiting. It was like the middle of September before Mercury starts to get into new territory, which it hasn't been because it was retrograde and then it had to go through its shadow. So we're finally gaining some stuff, but then it's kind of contradictory to our feelings. So we may have a little bit of a push pull between what you think in what you feel, or what you think you want, something like that. So just if it's that way, just chill with it. It will settle out. But this is this push pull and this obvious stuff. So it's good to know when you're in that indecision, and then it will pass. So just wait, maybe sometimes pause, reflect, breathe, and then the answer will become clear. But you can see from the astrology how it could get a little bit bunched up. All right, and that is it for this week. We have a very, very nice aspect there, this, coming into that cycle. And hopefully you've got a little bit more about how these cycles are, and, how they form they go through all of these phases, with the planets, their conversations. And this is just like we start out in life, you start moving away from something and it's too close to you. You have nothing in common with it. You've got to get further away. You got to get some distance. I need some space, man. I need some time. And this is why, then it chills out, it moves to 60 degrees. And now it's like, well, there's a little bit more in common. And then it hits a square, and then that's tense. And then it goes to the trine, and that evens out. And then it goes to the quincunx, and it kind of mucks things up again, or, you don't have anything in common. And then it goes to the opposition, and opposition can go either way. It can be opposing factors. One's pulling one way, one's pulling the other. Or it could be a union of forces, a balancing. It's like, okay, I'm done here. Now you take over. Okay, great. Day shift, night shift. So it's all, and then then they repeat. Then it goes back the other way, and it goes over and over. So this is just part of the cycle. Hone in on it. Use this energy. This is where astrology can help us get ahead in life, clear up things that are confusing, and make better decisions. All right, thank you for listening, and more to follow. Talk to you all next week. Bye for now.